Well, good morning, my beautiful coffee beans. It is wonderful to have you here. I'm Bullhorn Betty. We've been covering the case of Miss Nancy Guthrie, 84-year-old grandmother ripped out of her bed in the middle of the night by a masked gunman, never to be seen again after her family dropped her off on January 31st in the evening. We also have other breaking news going on right now in the state of Florida. On another case that we have been covering, Jason Colhart. Is it Jason? I believe it's Colhart. Jason Colhart. Isabel Rose Johnson has been on the run. And we did a poll here in this chat. And we asked our audience, do you believe she's still in Florida or do you believe she's fled? And the answer that my audience gave was spot on. So let's get into it in this episode of the Bullhorn Betty Show. Welcome, guys.
Bullhorn Betty rocks.
So come on in, grab your coffee, say hi to the coffee club. That's your chat. Good morning, family. Let's get into it.
Coffee steaming, files on the table. We clocking early, hunt what's unstable. Bullhorn Betty on the curb, voice raised. Flip-flop queen with the homemade phrase. Notebook thick, got the screenshots flag. Names in red ink, every rumor, every tag. Late night live stream, screen glow on her face. Truth in her throat, got a lawman's pace. She don't blink when the threats roll through. Come see me, she says, if you think that's cute. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that they gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we get that justice. Insane Asylum, that's our crew nickname. Laugh so loud while we track these names. White boy wild with the webs we spin. Pen to pen, see the pattern sink in. Turmo shaking when the case goes cold. We stir it back up, won't do what we're told. Doorstep question, side eye stare. Where were you that night? We hanging right there. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that they gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we get that justice. This for the faces on the milk cart labels. This for the families praying at tables. This for the names that the news won't say. We say them out loud every single day. Every day. If you're running in the dark, better feel that fear. Betty got a bullhorn right in your ear. Coffee club crazy, but we think so clear. One small town, whole world gonna hear. Hey! Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that the day gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we get questions.
Good morning, Coffee Club. It is nice to see you this beautiful Friday. TGIF. We got a lot of people already in the chat because we have major breaking news this morning on two separate fronts. We've got some great news in Jason Colhart's case. Isabel Rose Johnson, that's been on the run for well over 30 days. She was found in Jackson County, Florida. So for all of my beautiful coffee beans, we did a poll here in this chat, and I asked the people, where do you think she's going? Do you think she's hanging out in Florida? Do you think she's already in Georgia, or do you think she's in Alabama? My audience got it. They got it with flying colors. Like, the majority of my audience said they still believed she was in Florida. Well, guess what, guys? She was caught in Florida. So way to go. I mean, this just shows you the power of the brain cells on our channel. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. You guys don't ever get to, get kudos for the work that you guys do, and this is one where my audience was right. I love it. You guys rock. You guys rock. Melanie, it's nice to see you. GE girl. I'm not going to be able to go through here. We already got 200 people in chat, and I know you guys are wanting to get the information. So we're going to go through a few things before we dive right into the meat and potatoes, so you guys can all be updated on everything that we do here. I'm Bullhorn Betty. I travel this country. As many of you guys know, the 3 boys that were out there doing the independent journalism from the road, they were arrested. I've came out here and talked about my experience with arrests and stuff like that. And of course, our appellate case is coming up. My attorney reached out to me yesterday. I've got, checks right here going out in the bank or going out in the mail today to pay for the transcript. I was talking to we'll get into that another day, like $1,309. Why don't you just round it up to $1,310? I mean, come on, $1,309. Anyways, I digress. But we're sitting some money. We're a little short on our fees. We've been saving, but we're going to have to drop another $5,000. So we've got, right now, we've got a fundraiser going on, wrong one, fundraiser going on Give, Send, Go. So if you guys would like to help, this is for attorney expenses. We've already raised some money. People have sent me money not through here, so I've already got more than the $200 listed here for contributions. I believe we raised another, I want to say $100 through Cash App and Venmo. I'm very transparent when it comes to this stuff. So if you guys would like to help, the attorney, this is for the appellate. Once we get through the appeals, the attorney, the other stuff, the federal stuff, he's dealing, that's all on him. He's, that's a contingency contract. This is the only thing I got to pay out of pocket. And this is one of the most important hurdles. So what had happened is they have, the county wants to stay my federal suit until we resolve the protective orders in the appeal. So now we have to get those things resolved. That cost me real money. So there it is. So if you guys would like to help raise our goal is $5,000. Again, there are some things. I'm going to put a goal on here because I did receive money from other resources, and I want to have one goal mark that everybody can see daily as we raise goals, and I can do that through Streamlabs. So I'll be setting that up probably this afternoon, and it'll be displayed daily so we can keep a good understanding of where we are fundraising wise. We need to try to raise the $5,000 within the next 60 days. So that's kind of our goal. That's where we're at. And I'm hoping that this is it. I wish I was smart enough to have gotten all the fees like the guys did right up front, but I don't want to take more than I need. And so I have been doing this kind of, as we need it. We put promotion, ask for requests. So anyways, if you guys would like to help, please do. We also have a paid subscription articles that come out periodically. Sometimes I put these on for everybody to read. Sometimes the ones that take me a little bit longer to write, I put in under our paid memberships. So this is an article that I just dropped. It was based upon our 4-hour live the other day. If you guys would like to read the article, please consider subbing up to my Substack. That is, again, sub up for free. I throw a lot of free articles, multiple free articles. Most of our articles are free. But in the place that we're at right now, where we need a fundraise for attorney expenses, I've gotta start, pulling some stuff in. So you guys get it. Again, transparency is the best policy for me. So we have been covering the case of Miss Nancy Guthrie. We just ran the story yesterday about these bad sheets, these bad odors that were found by Mark the Shark. Many of you guys have been following this case of Miss Nancy Guthrie, 84-year-old grandmother ripped out of her bed in the middle of the night by a masked gunman, never to be seen again. And we've all been wondering what happened to her. Many people believe Tommaso is responsible for what happened. And so, there has been skepticism here. Nobody trusts. I can tell you this. This channel here, the Bullhorn Betty channel, we are controversial. Okay, we show up, so we give people heartburn on these channels. And when we first debuted on these platforms, we had all the hate channels. I didn't realize that we had a whole crew of people that do nothing but hate on people all day long. Like, what a waste of life. But I digress. I didn't know about it, but then we found out about them. They tried to destroy our reputation. They stalked us. They paid for people to follow us. They paid for people to harass us. They sent like clowns to a 20-month-old baby's, protest to try to get the mother. I mean, they're just ridiculous of how horrible these people have been. But I digress. When we sit here and have somebody going out here and doing this stuff, you wonder. You wonder why people don't trust Chris Nanos, right? And getting back to all the hate channels and just nasty old people, well, we get those people in this chat, okay? We have trolls. We even got a video. Look, we got a video. This is our troll video. Because I don't know how to smack these POSs, so I just decided to make a stupid video, right? I decided to make a stupid video just to have something, to break it up, because they're assholes. But we have all these people in our chat, right? We have a melting pot of people that love Betty and hate Betty in here. And you guys know that because most of the people that hate me sit in the, bushes, and they'll just come in here and gaslight here and gaslight there. And you guys get it, right? You guys get it. 100% of our channel. 100% of our channel. That means these shit stirrers, as well as us. There wasn't even a person popping off at the mouth the wrong way, y'all. Right? Sapphire eyes. That's nice. Sapphire eyes. Ooh, I like this for your case. Oh, thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. But I gotta be honest with you, out of all the shit stirrers in this chat, plus the True Blue Coffee Club members and the new crew, new people are coming to this channel every single day because of this case. 100% agreed, nobody believes Chris Nanos. I mean, it is just like that. I can tell you, in the history of the Bullhorn Betty show, I don't think we've ever gotten 100% of our audience all saying the same thing. We usually, even with the hate channels, you have one of those little, gaslighters throwing, the wrong number in there just to it's one of them, right? No. When we asked our audience who truly believes anything that comes out of Chris Nanos' mouth, 1, you believe him. 2, you do not believe him. The whole entire chat filled up with 2s, y'all. 2s! Nobody believes this man. Not even the haters that come here just to gaslight. They couldn't even control themselves. They couldn't even try to gaslight. They hate the man so much. So I just gotta point that out. Like, nobody believes this man. So if you're wondering why Mark the Shark is out there in Annie and Tommaso's neighborhood, because there's a lot of people that still believe Annie and Tommaso are truly, in fact, involved in this disappearance of their mother. We do have statistics on our side, and one thing that the statistics tell us is that this is most likely going to be done by an acquaintance. That's the top number, okay? So 50 some odd % for individual ladies in the condition that Miss Guthrie's in. She's sharp mind, lives alone, has money, well-to-do. The majority, 56% of homicides that are perpetrated upon people in Nancy Guthrie's criteria are acquaintances, 59%. Only 23% are family, but still it's family, right? So there is a good metric for family being involved in this, and because many of us feel this personal touch, and then you have like the ransom notes where you have the poetic touch, and it's like, no matter how we look at this case, there's always something that seems to want to point or can be, turned in on Annie and Tommaso as being suspects in the case. So Mark the Shark is out there, and like I said, then we learn, oh my gosh, there's bed sheets, there's bad odor, And then we find out there's a tarp. So not only do we have bed sheets, not only do we have bad odors, but we have a tarp. And why is this so important? Because this tarp is what many people believed was in the backpack. I didn't know what was in the backpack. And the reason why I have brought up tarp multiple times, Sky Bell's out there too. Nobody believes Chris Nanos. Bless you. But that poll was done a few days ago, just to let you know. But we'll add you to the roster though. But nobody in the chat believed Chris Nanos. Nobody trusts Chris Nanos. Chris Nanos is the one that's constantly giving us the updates on this case, and I can tell you that my audience, if we want to do this again, we have almost 500 people already in our chat this morning. 500 people. Okay, folks? 500. So I guarantee that Lisa's coming in late. You already voted, Lisa. You were here when we voted the first time. You can't get a second vote. I never believed him at all. I know, Skybell. I get it. So nobody really, even the haters, even the people that like to gaslight and stir the pot for all of us, we know that they're in here. We know that they're in here daily. There's several watching right now. And they couldn't even just gaslight for a second. Like they fell right. Nobody believes Chris Nanos. And trust me, if the hate channels really wanted to they would have been in here putting ones in. Nobody put a one in, folks. Nobody put a one in. We had hundreds of people in our chat and not one. Okay. So now we've got this. We just reported on this yesterday, right? That we have, oh my gosh, this tarp and stuff. Is this from their area? I don't know. What I can tell you is remains truly were found in a wash. Okay? Now, if remains were found in a wash, that's telling me one thing. They're human remains. We found human remains. Now the question is whether or not these human remains are Miss Nancy Guthrie's or some other person's. Because we don't know who these belong to. And while we are all just thinking, oh my gosh, it's Miss Nancy Guthrie. Miss Nancy Guthrie is the only one that's missing. Well, that's not accurate. You got to remember, this is Pima County. And they don't really search for a whole lot of people, especially in the desert. How do we know that? Well, because Miss Nancy Guthrie's case was front and center. And what did they do? They found every excuse not to go out in the desert. I have never heard law enforcement come up with so many damn excuses not to go search a desert like Pima County did. But they absolutely pump the brakes. So if we have all this is the way my brain thinks. Let me just kind of, and I think that as I teach you guys how my brain thinks, you guys can understand even if it doesn't bode with your brain thought, at least you guys get where my brain and how my brain thinks. But whenever I'm thinking of law enforcement pumping the brakes on actually going out and searching for somebody out in the desert when you don't know where they are, and you could have searched the desert. And you're like, oh, well, the dogs, oh, this, oh, that. And it's like, wait a minute. I live in Florida. Okay, we have hurricanes. But you know what my sheriff does? He equips his law enforcement with tools that are going to be used in hurricanes. Now, granted, some of the things that it looks like, boys with big toys type stuff. And I have seen it, like our water truck that has tires the size of my freaking house on it. Do we really need something like that for Manatee County? Do we really? How much did that cost? I'm sure it's got a couple $100,000 or a couple, lots of zeros behind it, right? Do we really need that? But you know what? At the end of the day, when a hurricane comes and our people have to get in, 8 feet or 10 feet of water, they've got a freaking vehicle that can do that for them. Okay, so what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that usually law enforcement equips their outfit with the tools that they need for their environment, right? You're not going to have Pima County with our big freaking truck with the big tires for water for hurricanes when they're in Arizona. They need something for the freaking desert. You see where I'm coming from? So why doesn't he have the necessary tools to do proper searches in the desert at this point in time? We did just celebrate 250 years of America's creation. Okay? I would think in 250 years, our law enforcement has evolved, right? Because we went from the Wild Wild West to what we got today, right? What is the Wild Wild West? You had one sheriff. Okay, everybody kind of handled their own thing. There was no homicide charges. You stepped on somebody's property and they kaboomed you. Guess what? You're buried in a shallow grave somewhere. Nobody got in trouble for that. Don't be stepping on people's property, right? But now we've evolved. We became a little more civilized. We realized that you just can't, somebody steps one toe over, you just can't go kaboom. So we made and established laws through. So there's been an evolution. Right? There's been an evolution in this country when it comes to criminal law. Now we're overcriminalized. I truly believe. I think everybody can agree we're overcriminalized. I want predators and people that prey on people in jail for lengthy periods of time because that's a brain problem, right? People that steal and do things like robberies and stuff like that. Some of them are pretty violent, some of them are not. Some of them have real drug problems and real money problems. That's why they're doing the job that they're doing. So, putting them on a path of education and being able to take care of themselves is probably more of an appropriate therapeutic life lesson for the people that are, stealing. People that are out there in the gangs, same thing. If you can just change the way of thinking, if you can run a gang and you can have people doing this and you've got, top-down leadership, well, you now know how to run a corporation. So why don't we legitimize you? Instead of you slinging dope, why don't we start having you sling some pharmaceuticals, from a drug manufacturing company or going out there and selling some windows to people. If you got the skills, you got the skills. It's just changing the way people think and taking it from illegal skills to lawful skills, right? There's a lot of skills that people learn in crime that can be utilized for lawful business purposes. So, I think that there needs to be some changes here that truly stop the revolving door. But that's on a different conversation altogether. Who did this to Miss Nancy Guthrie? Is it because of the local environment out there in Pima County? Or is it because of Miss Savannah Guthrie's notoriety? I think that's been kind of the crossroads. Would we agree that that's been kind of the hiccup in this case, is that crossroad of trying to decide whether this has something to do with Savannah Guthrie or if this is just some random act of, random crime? I mean, obviously it's not a random crime. It is targeted. We definitely know that it is a targeted crime. But was this local? The motive behind it, I think, is what we have a problem with. I haven't heard about the remains. Yeah, we're about to get into them right now. So here's the story. So this happened yesterday. Human remains were discovered early this morning. And the reason why I'm bringing up this and the reason why I brought up this whole other thing is because we just reported on this yesterday. Okay, there was some bad smells, some sheet odor, something that smelled all skunky funky. Now we find out, and remember, I told you, and we have talked about this multiple times. I have to give this little stuff, right? I have to give this little stuff here. But we talked about this multiple times that we believe that the radius that they were searching in was entirely too small. We even talked about yesterday that radius should have been 15 times larger. I personally said that this whole 2-mile thing was too small for the type of properties and area and the aerials that we were dealing with out there, that we really needed to be 20 miles out. Didn't remember me saying that? Who remembers in my chat? Now, we have a lot of people this morning, so I don't expect all of you guys to have been here to watch my shows, but the people that are usually in green and blue, you guys have been here long enough to hear me bring that up. And I have said that multiple times, that I thought that radius was entirely too small, that I would have absolutely minimum 10-mile radius. And I even stated that really we need to be in the 20 and 50-mile radius here. Stinky sheets, stinky tarp, allegedly. Yep. So now we have 500. Come on, guys. We need to get those thumbs up, please. That would be so grateful. I'd be so grateful for that if we can get those thumbs up. I think it's a bit early to get excited about this find. Over 1,100 people have been reported missing. And that's exactly what I was talking about, Mark, is, is this going to be her? Because we're all thinking that Miss Guthrie's the only person missing. But as I was just going through, the toys and stuff that my sheriff has to go find people in hurricanes, Why aren't they investing in these type of toys for the desert searches? Because if we're watching what they're doing for Miss Nancy Guthrie and not even going out there and searching for her, think about all the other missing people that they never search for in the desert, because they keep finding excuses after excuses after excuses. Thank you, Mark, for pulling me back in, because I never quite finished that paragraph of what I was talking about before I ended up going. Thank you guys, whoever's coming over here, blue skies and sandy beaches. Welcome. You've always been a member. You've been part of the family for a long time. So welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club. Welcome back to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club. I eat and sad and I love. I haven't gotten down there, so it might have been that you probably wrote a note. Let me see. Why isn't it moving? There we are. There we are. We got a note. I knew we got a note. TGI, it showed up that you were a new member on my end. Then I realized, wait a minute, it might be the note. TGIF, I hope you're doing great. God bless you. Thank you, dreaming of blue skies and sandy beaches. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. So now let's get into this. This was 11 miles, okay? So I want to make sure that you guys understand that this is 11 miles from Nancy Guthrie's house. So this is outside of my 10-mile radius. And if you guys remember, I said I still feel, when I said 10 miles, we needed at least 10 miles. And I said, and I still feel like that's too small of a radius because of these properties. I went further and expressed why I thought that. And it was hit that button, if you can, give a small gift, it adds up. Thank you, Sapphire Eyes. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. So this happened. So this is 29 minutes away from. We've always, well, at least for me, I know it's going to be hard for me to decipher this because, I just subbed up, never heard of Bullhorn Betty person. I'm enjoying this stream. Well, thank you, Otis. You know, Otis Redding is I'm an old soul. So I'm like old music, okay? And Otis Redding was long before my time, but I absolutely love Otis Redding. So when I saw your name, you're already my kind of people. Otis and Chloe, welcome. So Tucson Police Department confirmed that remains, which consist mostly of bones, were found in a wash south of Santa Cruz Lane. The Pima County Office of the Medical Examiners recovered the remains, and authorities are now investigating the discovery as an unidentified death. Investigators believe the remains have been there for an extended period of time. Now, I don't know what that means, but you guys have to remember hey Kiki, it's nice to see you, love bug. You have to remember that there were some bones that were found not too long ago out while people, I think, wasn't it Exploring with Jim that found them? One of our content creators, I believe, found these bones, but they were over 1,000 years old. They were from an ancient burial ground or something like that. You guys remember all of that? So this hearing that these have been out for an extended period of time, is that, that every time I hear an extended, I'm just going to be honest with you. I personally want this to be Miss Guthrie, not because I want her to be dead, but one, I believe she has already, met her demise. I don't think she survived this attack. But two, I think the family, I think the world needs a little closure in one step in the right direction. So I'm kind of hopeful that this is Nancy, that we can finally start moving forward in this case. But there's a piece of me in my gut that lets me know that this is not. And it comes down to when I hear extended period of time. Okay, she's been missing for 6 months. In my mind, is it as subjective as the word is, extended period of time, like extended could mean a lot of, could mean a different time. Like Kiki, could mean a different time from Kiki than it is for me. Like her extended period of time might be different than my extended period of time, or what I think an extended period of time is. So very subjective language here for an extended period of time. But I will be honest with you, when I hear extended period of time, my mind always goes toward more than 2 years. So I could be totally wrong about this, but whenever I hear extended period of time, because even at 6 months, you're going to have, even in this heat and everything, you're going to have some tissue. It's not going to be a lot because your body's just going to soak into the freaking desert. I mean, it sounds pretty pitiful, but that's typically what happens. I mean, your body is, made up of water. I mean, when your body dies, the acids and everything kind of consume all of this tissue. This tissue starts breaking down, and you turn into goo. I don't know any other explanation than that. It's a disgusting process. Decomposition is a disgusting process, but all of us break down. I mean, that's how our earth kind of filters us, right? I mean, in all fairness, that's why I've always said, people are always like, why are you putting it into the ground? It's like, where else do you put it? The ground is a natural filtration system. So you kind of go, okay? And the earth kind of recycles you and filters you, and over time you just disappear. Even underground when we bury you, that's why we have to do the embalming and the sealed the sealed caskets. It's to preserve your body. Otherwise your body would break down in the elements and there would be nothing left of you. You'd be gone. You'd be essentially, your whole entire body, bones and all, would just break down. We have parasites and all types of little organisms that break down, and that's their only job, is to recycle stuff, And a reason why people bury our trash, because they know that over time that trash is going to recycle itself. It's going to break it down its own self. Sometimes these things like plastics, right, take years, hundreds of years to finally break fully down. But that's why they put them in the ground. It's a filtration. It's a filtration. People are really, environmental and stuff like that, but they don't. So anyways, the point I'm trying to make is I wouldn't expect this to be, extended period of time, and I wouldn't believe it would be fully just bones, remains. Like even Brian Laundrie, when he was out there, we didn't find him until, now granted, it wasn't this long. We got out there like around September. I got out there on September 18th. Jonathan and Heather and all them got out there on September 17th, 16th or 17th. And I think Brian was found like October 20. Now this is going off pure memory. And I think Brian was found like around October 20th. So he was out there for maybe 5 weeks. He was bones, but there was still tissue on him. Okay. He wasn't completely gone. Had he been out there for an extended period of time, and it's different, 5 weeks versus 6 months, I get that. But I still would expect, this to be partially bodied, but maybe not. Maybe it would be truly bones. But the extended period of time is what gets me on this case, is the extended period of time aspect of it. But this is within our search radius. Okay, we expanded our search radius to a minimum of 20 miles. This is within 11 miles. This is within 29 minutes away from Nancy Guthrie's home. Could these be Nancy's? This is the question. Could these remains be Nancy's? And I don't want to be horrid or horrible, and I don't want people to misunderstand what I'm trying to say when I say I want them to be hers. I want them to be hers because I want this case to start migrating over to a criminal case, right? I feel like it is a criminal case, but I feel like it's misclassified. I feel like it's been misclassified since like the first few weeks of this. I think we should have automatically moved over to a no-body homicide based on the grim realities of her health condition. 6 months, we all know that I don't care what Elizabeth Smart says, okay? I mean, God bless that girl. God bless everything that she went through, but she was a young, healthy, young girl that could survive. We're dealing with a totally different situation here. This is an elderly woman that requires life-sustaining medication to live daily. So we know that she has no life-sustaining medication. And when the medication, from my understanding, I don't know the specific medication, but I do know the types of medications that are prescribed for people that are on, that have pacemakers. And typically, You have things like an angina pill, which is why can't I think of the word that I'm trying to think of here, but nitroglycerin. You know, they have like nitroglycerin tablets that they give people. They have other blood thinning tablets that they give people that thin out their blood. And my understanding, when you stop these particular prescriptions cold turkey, it has a negative effect on the blood. It has a countering effect on the blood. So when you're changing stuff, it's good to taper down the prescription as you're moving on, because I'm hearing that it's something with the medication thinning your blood and then not being able to thin the blood. It coagulates a little bit differently, because I don't know what Coumadin is another something somebody's saying it's Coumadin, but I think I don't know what that is. You know, when I think of Coumadin, I think herb or seasoning. Anyways, will this ultimately be Miss Guthrie? I truly don't know. They are remains. They're saying extended period of time. Again, when I hear that extended period of time, I think more than 6 months. I really do. And then we had the prior bones that were found that were ancient. This tells me a few, and then of course them not going out and searching for Miss Nancy Guthrie, their biggest viral case that they've had in Pima County in probably several decades. And they won't even go out and search for her in the desert. So if they're not searching for this viral case in the desert, think about all the other chumps that were reported missing. I guarantee they are not going out in the desert and looking for them, right? They just let them rot away, even if they were salvageable, or, you know, they just got injured or something and you just needed somebody to find them. They weren't searching for them. They just took the missing person. This is, I got to tell you, this is so unnerving to hear out there, to see this all going on, that your law enforcement, they don't want to break a sweat to go find you, and they're law enforcement. I mean, if they're not going to break a sweat for you, who the hell will? Who the hell will? And I think we're going to find out this is another person that they just failed. That was reported missing. They took the report and never searched. And even if they did search, we know one thing, they won't search the desert. And that's where a lot of people end up, right? So if you have criminals out here and the criminals are saying, you know what? One thing we know about Pima County is they're lazy. They refuse to get even the dogs out there in the desert. They complain about everything. Too many pricklies, too many cacti, they can't seem to figure out how to wear clothes or use, find tools that'll help them out there in that prickly desert land. They just like making excuses, because we heard the excuses made in Miss Nancy Guthrie's case. So think about it. Do you think any person like me or you, if we went missing out in this area, if they weren't even willing to go out and look for Miss Nancy Guthrie, I mean, she has an Emmy-nominated and award-winning, famous daughter on the NBC's NBC Today show. I mean, you've got somebody with that type of pedigree, and you're not even going to go out into the desert and search for him. I mean, think about it. How many of you guys feel like we're going to be like they would go out and search for us? If they're not searching for her, boo boo, they ain't searching for you. Okay? I'm letting you guys know that, just like that. I feel so bad for the people out here. My heart hurts for the people in Pima County. It does, because I mean, for me watching this, I know people that are living their life day to day and aren't paying attention to any of this. They're not having anxiety over this because they don't even know what's going on. But when we're watching this and we're seeing the people that are paying attention to it, the residents of that community that are paying attention, they're in a hopeless, helpless situation. I mean, think about it. They've got a criminal sheriff that they're begging just to turn this over to the feds. And because he's got such a hard-on for the feds, he's willing to tank this old lady's case just so he's the one that says, I solved it. I mean, it is so unnerving, and the people are watching this, and the people now know that are paying attention, that they got a sheriff that is more of a criminal than a freaking sheriff. I mean, I just I don't know. I mean, I know everybody's got a little, something in their closet. I mean, I think we all do. That we wouldn't want, somebody out. Mine's kind of, there's not really a whole lot left in my closet, of things. I don't really have anything to hide at this point. I mean, even the stuff that I really didn't want out there that, I held a little closer to the chest, even with my advocacy with, abused women and other things like that before I ever even got on these streets. There was still some, well, all of those things that kind of, anything I had in personal business that I didn't want people to know has already been spread out all over these streets, right? So it is what it is, but I know how hard it is, but one thing that we survived is because we're still not a dirtbag, right? And Chris Nanos, you would expect, with all of his skeletons coming out, you would have kind of expected him to kind of, at some point in 40 years, take ownership. Yeah, I was a bad cop. Thank God I got this job before anybody looked at it, ha ha. Like even, what's his name? Joe Kenda. He even talks about some of the things that were against the rules that he did, on the job. Like he said, he went to a Christmas party and then all of a sudden he gets a call and, he's got, liquor on his breath and he's driving his patrol car to this death and he's like, looks over at his friend and he's like, go get me all the coffee you can get. Like he tells you those stories. He's authentic about those stories. He's not lying to us. He's not deceiving us, right? Back then things, things this day and age would be much different if a detective showed up with whiskey on their breath. But back then he was on call. He thought he could get away with it. He couldn't get away with it. And he showed up with whiskey on his breath. And those are the authentic things that I think that I look for in people, like we all kind of do stupid stuff. It's just, how honest are we about the stupid stuff? I feel like people are embarrassed, so they try to hide it. And I try to express to people, don't hide it. It is who we are. And the more we talk about it, the more people realize it's, we all go through it, or we all have certain skeletons in our closet. It's not, the skeletons don't seem so embarrassing anymore, Oh, thank you, Jump AZ. We appreciate you. Gifted JDR, welcome. Lisa, the deranged bunny. Oh, I love it. The deranged bunny. We are an insane asylum over here, so it looks like you fit. Pamela, Angel Mama, welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straitjacket in your padded room and welcome aboard. And it's because I'm a love machine. Ow! So welcome, guys. And don't forget, whenever you guys are gifted memberships, you guys have those milestones. And I think you guys can use them like the next day. So don't forget, don't leave your milestones on the table. Use your milestones. Let people know what you're thinking, You got something to say it. Yeah, right? And highlight it. Somebody might agree with you. Somebody might not. But still, use those. So welcome. Thank you, Jump AZ. We appreciate you. And then Captain Avia. Captain, I'm really thinking you don't have your gift set up, because you should have. You're here all the time. You should have had a gifted membership at this point. Have you checked to make sure you're signed up for gifted memberships? Because it's something you have to turn on. At least I had to. I vaguely remember it, but it was a long time ago. But I remember having to go and click on something to be eligible for the memberships. I don't know if they changed that since then, because I'm not on these. And guys, I almost forgot one other thing that I was supposed to say. Before we get on with this conversation, JH in Hawaii is asking for prayers. She sent me an email. Apparently there's some bad storms. She's very, very concerned. I can tell you, JH very rarely reaches out to us for prayers. And she reached out and said, look, I'm worried. I need some prayers. We got these storms. She's in Hawaii. She's on islands in the middle of, an ocean. So if any of you guys have a few prayers that you guys can lift, and for her, and calming prayers, something to help her calm her nerves, and stuff like that, that would be really, really, really beneficial. I really do appreciate it. I know she does. I know she may not be in here right now, work and, the timing being in Hawaii and stuff like that. But again, she did reach out, and I just wanted to let you guys know that JH, and she's one of our coffee club members, is, asking for prayers, and she's kind of nervous. So the least we can do is give some prayers. It looks like there's a storm that might be, kind of stirring up into a hurricane, and she's just nervous. So maybe we can just put our hands on Hawaii and have that storm just move right on past Hawaii. Just go right on around it, right? Just go right on around it. So yes, I got thrown out everywhere, but I'm in charge when Patty's in chat. We haven't thrown you out, Captain Avio. I don't know. You're like the pesky little brother. You're like the pesky little brother. All right. So if you guys are here for the first time, I'm going to read this. Yes, there were human remains. And the reason why I spent so much time talking about Mark the Shark's post about the bed sheets, bad odor, and tarp found near Annie and Tommaso's home. Now we're here finding out, and that was in a wash as well. Now we're here finding out that there are some remains that were found just on the heels of hearing about that sheet, the tarp, and the bad smell. It just seems to me like there's definitely, obviously there's a body, there's a body. It was kind of weird that we have Mark describing these things, and then the very next day having human remains turned up. This is a little, I feel like there's a homicide here. Now, is this Nancy Guthrie? Again, I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for my statement here, but I want you guys to understand my statement truly is coming from the best part of my heart. But I want this to be Nancy. Okay? I want this to be Nancy. I not that I want her to be dead. I don't. I just never believed she survived the attack. I've never believed she survived the attack. I've always believed that she has been in this state, and I just wanted to find her because her family wants to bury her and wants to memorialize her. And I can't imagine. I mean, we're all kind of down everybody's throat. What does it say? Very important person in my eyes and heart. Thanks to her, the world is a better place. Huge thank out for the work. Oh, thank you. Your Swiss pal, Rebby. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. So let me just go over here. Do we have, I kind of got away from everything, and I just want to say thank you to everybody that's been here and has been helping. Nani, we appreciate you. Sapphire Eyes, Dreaming of Blue Skies and Sandy Beaches. Kiki and Jump AZ. Corey, thank you guys for everything. We do appreciate each and every one of you. We appreciate each and every one of you and everybody in the chat. So where do we go from here? Well, this is concerning. This is really, really concerning, but you know what? I'd like to know, are they connected? Where does that wash lead? Because I feel like, bones might have moved, or maybe the sheets and the tarp might have moved a lot quicker than the weight of the bones. So we might have had those things kind of down further in the wash where Mark the Shark was, and maybe these were further up. I've never understood Arizona washes. I was in Arizona. Thank you, Corey. Arizona Raven for the sparkles. Lisa, thank you. Oh, you guys are so sweet. I appreciate you. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. But we saw a cruiser, a Pima County Sheriff's Office, like when they get these storms, and that's what I was trying to say. I went to Arizona one time. There was only one event I went to Arizona for, and I did go through Tucson. I actually stayed in Tucson on my way back to Florida, and I got to see Sweet Misery. Me and Sweet Misery got to hang out. We've known each other for years, but we hadn't had a chance to see each other face to face. So me and Sweet Misery, when I stayed at a hotel, she was only a half hour from my hotel, so she came over to my hotel, and I was completely, utterly exhausted. I probably looked like I don't know, a semi must have hit me. I was exhausted, but she came and hung out with me. It was great. It was great. And we got to meet each other and everything like that. And it was in Tucson. So I was there, but I was in Glendale. Is that what it is? Glendale. And there was a torrential, and I mean a torrential downpour. And I'm used to Florida. Now, guys, I'm used to Florida thunderstorms. They're like mini hurricanes here. And I'm used to driving in them, okay? I was terrified in Arizona. The way that their roads were, they weren't like our roads are kind of like crisscross, okay? These kind of go weird and they cross over each other's. It's weird. And so you have all this downpour and the way that the rain, even the rain there is weird. It's not Florida rain. Their rain is weird. Their rain, the actual rain that comes out of the sky onto your car is weird. It's like a bucket. It's like a freaking bucket. Somebody just takes a bucket and just pours on your windshield. You can't see. And so even your windshield wipers on like the fastest, you can't see. And all of this water is being funneled into like these little grooves that they call washes. And so these are like, I want to say like mini like streams and lakes, and they're just like whitewater rapids that develop from all of this rain, and they just follow these washes. And if you're in that wash, you're being swept away. You're not going to survive that. I mean, it is some significant water rolling through these washes. I've never seen anything like it. So we had some torrential downpours, and we know people were out after them because these washes were full. And just, what was it, a week or two ago, we were laughing. Was it funny? I even said, we're all laughing about this because we see a Pima County cruiser caught up in this wash and being literally drugged down. And it's like, we're laughing at it. It's kind of a satire like clip. But I also caution the people. I'm like, this could be really serious. Like, he could be, the officer in that cruiser could literally lose his life, and we're laughing at it. And it was kind of funny when we saw it, but the reality of it is very dangerous. And that's the kind of water that they have regularly in these storm seasons, where it's so much water that if your car is in an area that's collecting this water, it's picking you up and taking you with it. So you're talking about force of water. Did this disturb some shallow graves somewhere? Well, everybody started getting out into these washes looking for Miss Nancy Guthrie, hoping that something did disturb the ground, and get some evidence up. So that's why the guys all went back out there, because they're hoping that they might be able to find something in the washes now that they had this torrential storm system go through. And they found something. And then now, today, we're waking up and we have remains. We have a tarp, sheets, and remains. Tarp, sheets, and remains. Tarp, sheets, and remains. I want to make sure you guys under that. Tarp, sheets, and remains. So the tarp and the sheet and the smell and the odor was the day before. Then the next day we find bones. So I believe we may actually be looking at a homicide here. If they're connected. We don't know if they're connected. I wanted to thank you. Thank you, Melanie. Gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. Who received that? It was Joanne. Joanne, welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. The article does not say who found the body or the remains. They're classified as remains, so that means that they're bone. There's not a whole lot of tissue. If they're classified as remains, it's not a body. It's bones. So, and I like people to understand that, because they do classify them differently in these articles, okay? If you hear remains, then you're talking about basically a stack of bones, okay? If you hear body, that means you're looking at something that has still all of this stuff on it, right? So you have a body that's might be decomposing, but you still have tissue. You still probably have eyeballs. Your jaw hasn't fallen off yet. Your tendons haven't deteriorated. Once your body, the soft tissue deteriorates, then your remains. So that's the classification between remains and body. And you got to understand that also helps you time-wise too. When you're hearing about a body, you know that it recently happened. Okay, when you hear remains, you know that there's been some time that has transpired. So those things will help you decipher what is being said in the news moving forward. So pay great attention to that. So many of you guys are here. Yes, there have been remains found. There were original scent, smell, tarps, sheets near Annie and Tommaso's house. Then we're hearing in a wash, there were human remains found that were extended, that had been there for an extended period of time. So with them saying that they have been there for an extended period of time, that's telling me that they may not have gotten up in the wash, like they weren't moved, because it almost implies that they were where the person died, because they have been there for an extended period of time. I don't know whether that is a misstatement, like the bones appear like they've been there for an extended period of time, or where they're resting, they appear to have been there for a period of time. Those two statements are polar opposites of each other. So I would like some clarification on that as well, and we're not going to get it. We're not going to get it. So right now we're just holding. Here's the wash. Here's the area. This shows you the type of water that comes through these washes. And again, this is so strong that it was able to pick up a Pima County Sheriff's Office cruiser. It was an SUV. And this SUV was literally floating down this wash. How the SUV got in the wash to begin with, or why the officer put his oops, I didn't mean to do that. What did I just do? What did I just do? Uh-oh. There it is. Okay. Uh-oh. Nope. Go back. There we go. It'll come back up. There we go. Okay. So that's what we have for that. We don't have any other information. Has there been any other information? This is the only other article that I've found that has produced anything. So Guthrie update: human remains found in Tucson. Sparks fear amid search for kidnapped woman. Stomach is nervous. So human remains were found near a wash in Tucson, Arizona, amid an ongoing search for Nancy Guthrie. News of the discovery sparked fear among those following the case. The 84-year-old mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie was reported missing from her Catalina Foothills homes near Tucson on February 1st. Authorities believe she was taken the night before. It has been 6 months. No suspects have been announced to the public. Nancy has not been found either, in the case where investigators had said time was of the essence. Hence, the news about human remains caused fear among those who have been following the Nancy Guthrie's case. Here's all you need to know about the gruesome discovery. So here's the information, folks. We're finally getting into the information. Human remains were found in Tucson. All you need to know. Per KVOA report, the remains were found near Silver Lake Road and Interstate 10 on August 13th at around 7 a.m. This is about 11 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's home. The Tucson Police Department told the publication that Pima County Office of the Medical Examiners has taken custody of the remains. Details remains limited at this time per the report. So we know that there are remains. We don't know if it's a full set of remains. We don't know if it's man, woman. Obviously, according to what we read, they've been there a while. Per KOLD News, the remains have been there for some time and were mostly bones. Mostly bones. So that does, we're mostly bones. Interesting phrase, mostly bones, because you guys know I'm looking for tissue. So if there's tissue on this body, then that could help us identify whether or not how long this person could have been out there. So mostly bones. Very interesting set of words here. The investigation is on to determine the identity and cause of death. The discovery sparked fear of whether it was Nancy Guthrie. My stomach is nervous, it's sad, and it's horrible no matter who it is, one wrote, and that is absolutely right. Somebody is missing a loved one. Somebody's loved one was not able to be buried or, celebrated or provided the dignity of a burial or cremation. They're just out there. So is this Nancy Guthrie's? This whole thing about mostly bones, it could give me some hope there. I don't know why they would use mostly bones, because when you say mostly bones, that tells you tissue's attached. Tissue would not be attached to somebody that's over 2 years out there. So that does give me a little bit more hope. I know people are fearful. I'm fearful that it is her. I just want this case to start moving along, and I truly do not believe she's alive. And so we are looking for a body and remains right now. So if this is her, to start moving this case in the right direction, in the homicide case it needs to be, there's just a piece of me that is hopeful that we find her. And instead of this unknown to keep lingering on and lingering on. Another added, rumors are that the body was nearly skeletalized. And in this heat, you would expect that, but it says nearly. That's giving me hope that there was tissue, soft tissue on that body. If there's soft tissue on that body, then this person has been has died. It's not like a death like the ancient body parts that we found earlier, in this case. This would be more in line. So let's read the next statement. It says, added, rumors are saying skeletalized. However, in an arid environment like Arizona, exposed bodies can partially undergo, an exposed body can potentially undergo partial or full skeletization in 4 to 6 months. See? So if she's not fully skeletalized yet, and it's mostly or was nearly skeletalized, this is giving me hope, folks, that it might be Nancy. It might be Nancy. However, many opined that it was not likely Nancy, but a broader jumper or a border jumper or a homeless person. And again, they haven't told us whether they believe, and and any person, any pathologist would be able to determine whether this is a man or a woman by the hips, by the pelvis. The pelvis is what determines for them to determine whether a man or a woman. They can, if there's a pelvis there, they should be able to tell us whether this is a man or a woman. However, many opined it's not likely Nancy. And again, I opined earlier, I don't believe this is Nancy because, they're talking about remains. I would expect there to still be some tissue. According to this article, they agree with it. 4 to 6 months, it would be partial to fully skeletalized. They're talking about nearly skeletalized. If this is a female and not a male, then we might be a little closer to knowing what happened. Homeless people are known to frequent the area, so they're believing it's possibly a homeless person, which would make sense as well. So that's what came to mind for most of us here. Mary Coleman of KOD News said. Another added, sadly, we know how this goes. Would love closure for the Nancy, but also know this could be someone else's. See, so I'm not the only person, because we would like closure for Miss Guthrie's case, and I think that's what I'm trying to say is I don't want this to be her, but I want this to be her in a sense of moving the case along. I just don't believe this poor little lady survived the attack. I just don't, in my heart and soul, I don't believe she did. I believe she's expired, and there's no easy way to say that. There's no easy way to express that, and being hopeful that we find her is optimism, and I'm hopeful that we find her, even though I know we're going to find her deceased, and we're going to most likely find her in a condition like this. So am I hopeful? Sadly, I am. I'm hopeful that we get somewhere, but no matter how this turns out, unfortunately, somebody's going to be very in a lot of pain. Even if it's Nancy, her family is going to, they're going to have to come to grips with this being the finality of their mom, and if this is somebody else, well, their family is going to have to come to the finality of this is the end for their loved one. There's nothing good coming from this. It's all sad, even talking about it, I'm just getting goosebumps all over my body because it's just sad. No official confirmation has come whether the remains are linked to Nancy Guthrie's case, as the medical examiner is working to determine the identity. However, Matt Flynn of Fox News reported that federal sources told him it was not Nancy. So there you guys have it. There's all of your information. I'm sorry, I didn't realize it was over. So there's all your information related to Miss Nancy Guthrie's case and whether these remains are hers. It sounds like there are some people, some sources that law enforcement already has that says that they're not hers, which we knew going into this case that would be a long shot for them to be hers. But we're still hopeful. We're still, I'm hopeful that the family finally gets answers. That's really what I want. Even though I'm kind of disappointed with the family and in their behavior and all of this, there's no real right way to, and I have to remind myself that, and I think I need to remind everybody out there, there's no right way to grieve. Some people try to find a way to live in a lot of grief. I think that if we all look back on our own lives, losing a mom, losing a child, losing a grandparent, we've all had to try to find ways to move on. And some of you in my chat have had the terrible experience of losing somebody very close to you, like a child, from crime, like violence. That is a club that a few people that are in our chat regularly are a part of. It's sad, but only they really know that absent in that pain, this type of pain, everybody's pain is different for them, and it's very personal and ultra personal, and we understand that. But there's just something about the unknown, about not knowing what happened to your loved one. There's also some pain like Daniela, the Graham, North Carolina. Daniela, the more her father learned about her case, the harder it got for him, because he started, reliving what his daughter went through, because she was alive for 43 minutes in a ditch dying before she ultimately took her last breath. And she was hit by a car, most likely a drunk driver. We got Josh or whatever his name was. There was no justice for this poor girl, just no justice whatsoever. But the more her father learned, the more he would tear apart a little bit, because he was constantly obsessing over those final moments of his daughter. And just watching him and just seeing the sadness in his eyes, just seeing a broken father before me. It's sad. It's sad, but he knew what happened to his daughter. Seth Rogers, the Guthrie family, they don't know. I mean, it's easy for us to sit on the sidelines and say, oh, the family has to be involved, right? It's easy for us to say that. But we all know in the back of our mind there is the possibility that they're not, okay? Even the people that are diehard Annie and Tommaso are responsible. They themselves, I'm not calling them stupid, and I'm never going to call them stupid, because I don't think they are. They themselves know that is a probability, and there is also a probability that it's not them. Dallas Ghetto, sorry, I believe that. I did not like that community at all. I was terrified to drive. I drive all over this country, okay? I just want to let you guys know. I do not fly. I mostly drive because it's too damn expensive for me to fly with all my equipment. So if I can load up the car and drive, I would prefer driving. Not that I prefer driving the length. I mean, I prefer flying if it was more affordable, but it's not. So I've got to drive everywhere that I go. And so I'm used to being in different areas of this country. I'm used to being in mountains and deserts and, all types of different environments. And I got to tell you, I've never been more nerve-wracked than I was in Arizona driving, because it was raining and the rain was awful. I'm not gonna lie, it was awful. It was awful. And you're like on the road, and like the road has a river. I mean, it's just, a river like this thick, but it's unnerving for me. It was just truly, truly, truly unnerving for me. So if it's a ghetto, yeah, I would believe that it's, ghetto-ish. But anyways, getting back to this, everybody knows that there's a possibility of this family not being involved. I mean, even the people that believe that they're involved believe that they know that there is a possibility. I truly believe they know there's a possibility where the family's not involved, even though they believe it. At the end of the day, this has got to be horrible, especially, and I'm going to put this in big, big letters, especially if the family is innocent, right? And not only that, but even if you do believe there is one or two people in the family that did this, the whole entire family wasn't responsible. So constantly having this up and down, I can tell you, is horrible for a family. And I know this because Seth Rogers, I talk to him regularly. We befriended each other over his son's case. So he's not just a case for me. He's a friend. And I can tell you the ups and downs that he's had to go through of there's been several times that remains were found in Tennessee, and just seeing how he handled that and how unnerving it was for him. And, a piece of him prayed it's not his son, but he knew that there was a possibility it could be. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gone, right? He wouldn't have checked it out. So that was, that is probably the hardest thing a parent has to do. I mean, let alone seeing their child in that condition. That's got to be the hardest thing in the world. But it also has to be hard for a family to see this lady and photos of her and know she's not here, and they have no idea where she's at. Is she out there in the woods? Is she, I keep saying the woods, in the desert? Is she out there in the desert? I hope they find her. I really do. And it's going to be unfortunate, but guys, I don't really think they're going to find her alive. I think we're going to find remains. I'm so sorry that these remains are most likely somebody else's. And a family is about to probably in the next week get some of the worst news of their life. Or maybe it might be some news that they expected, especially if it's a homeless person that, has had drugs. Maybe, no matter what, your family loves you, whether you're a drug addict or not. I will tell you that. They don't want anything happening to you out there in the street because they love you. They're your family, and they love you when you don't even love yourself. So nobody wants to hear this news. Nobody wants to be listening to the news that their loved one has perished out in the freaking desert by themselves alone. I mean, that's heartbreaking. Even if your loved one was out there on drugs and homeless and whatever, nobody wants to hear that because that's somebody's family member. That might be somebody's mom or dad or aunt or uncle or best friend. Those people are the ones that have to carry the weight of that death with them for the rest of their life. And it's sad. This is bittersweet because it's hard to express that we want remains to be found for somebody. I don't want remains to be found for Miss Nancy Guthrie. I'd love for her to come back home healthy and happy, but I just don't think that's going to be the case. So we're going to keep searching for her in the places that she may be, which I think if we were to keep taking the approach that she's alive, we would not be looking in the places where she more or less will be. I believe that this lady, I've said this on my platform since the inception of this case, I believe this lady was dead on her way out of or dying. Dead or dying on the way out of her house. So in my opinion, nothing anybody could have done would have saved her, So I don't really have this hard on for the sheriff, being the responsible person for her demise, right? I use him because there's a lot of people that believe that she was that she could have been saved. And for those people that believe that she could have been saved, then Chris Nanos, his decision making and delaying this case 2 months, in their mind, Chris Nanos is the reason why she's dead, right? Because she was savable. He screwed up and she lost her life. So we have two different people, two different sets of people, and maybe even a third set of people that don't even believe she's dead, that still believe she's alive. So we have all those kind of that we're, going constantly back and forth with our audience on whether she's dead, alive, and what happened to her. And we have several people that we've been looking at, including Carlos and Luke and Kayla Day. We've been looking at them. We've even looked into Clay Couch. He's been charged with kidnapping and burglary, and his mother lives, very close to Miss Guthrie. We looked at Clay Couch. Clay Couch is not being brought up, but you know what, to be honest with you, I think he looks fairly similar to the sketch as well, in addition to Carlos. But in my opinion, Clay Couch, unless he's in jail, he has not gotten enough attention related to this case, especially with the proximity of his mom's house to Miss Nancy Guthrie's house. That's a very interesting person that people haven't really talked too much about. They've talked in passing, but he hasn't been scrutinized by law enforcement, and I think that's why people like us content creators really haven't put him out there too much, because he's a name we developed, not law enforcement. And I can't remember who specifically, if we were to talk about true crime content creators, who specifically identified Clay Couch. I believe it might have been Jonathan or somebody like Alec or 857 Tucson. I can't remember who, but it was that group of people is when I started hearing about Clay Couch. Clay Couch is an interesting character. We did a show on Clay Couch, especially his history, his criminal history. The problem I couldn't determine is everybody kept saying he's not in jail. That Clay Couch is not in jail. And I couldn't see where he was released from jail. So I don't know if the man's in jail or out of jail. And I was meaning to do a search on it to find out if he was out, when he got out. And I know that's all public record, and we should be able to easily find it out. And typically, like in Florida, all that stuff would be online. If you are been in our Department of Corrections, we can go on the Department of Corrections and find you literally in any of our federal facilities here in Florida or around this country. Or if you're in a local facility here in the state of Florida, we can go through the FDLE to find out where you're stationed in the state of Florida. So and if you're no longer there, it tells you your release date. It gives a picture of you with your release date on it, so we know exactly when you were released from jail. So I don't know if Arizona has this same type of system, in their, that their government maintains like we do here in Florida. But if they do, then we need to determine when Clay Couch was released from jail, and if he was out during the time that Miss Nancy Guthrie, in all times, the 11th, the 24th, and as well as February 1st, all times that we've heard about, was he out? Because this person, we believe, was the same person that was there on the 11th, that was there on the 1st, and we heard of another date. So I'm assuming that one date that we heard, by the wayside, the January 24th date, I only heard it one or two times at the very beginning of the case when we were talking about the photos and still images. And then after that, I never heard any more about the photos or videos outside of them reading an article or a release from a source that stated that the all of the images and videos have been recovered on her system. I only saw one report that said that. I reported it, and I can't remember when I reported it, but I know it was before May. So I believe I reported that somewhere in April, and it was a show. So I'm pretty sure if you go back into the playlist for Nancy Guthrie, you might be able to find it, because I'm pretty sure I titled it the show appropriately, about all videos being found or something like that. So you should be able to search that and find that link. It was back, I want to say it was back in April. It was, I don't remember when in April, but I feel like it was in April. It was somewhere in April that we talked about it, about all the videos. So that's kind of where we are. And I wanted to give you guys some really, really, really good news. Good news. Okay, we don't get a whole lot of good news a lot here on this channel. And when we do get good news, we like to share it. If you guys are here, before we get into this, I do want to remind you, we are trying to raise $5,000. We're trying to raise $5,000. If you guys would like to help with this, I greatly appreciate it. $1 will do. We're not looking for anybody to break the bank. If I had it my way, I would love to have $150 sponsors or $100 sponsors. But that's not the way we do it, because people give what they can give, and sometimes it's only $1, sometimes it's $2. But one thing that we do here on this show is crowdfund. This is for legal expenses for me. This is, I am hoping, our final legal expenses, and I've got $6,300 that I'm sending out right now to the attorney, and then on our next pay we'll be sending him another $1,000. And so I just want to make sure that we are able to keep up with our legal expenses. We've had a year of kind of sitting by the wayside waiting for some movement in the case. The movement is starting to happen, and it's because I've sued the county federally, and they're forcing me. They're going to be reproaching the judge for a stay in that case until we resolve the appeals. So now we're required to kind of go back to the appellate case, and that's the case I'm financially responsible for. So we need to raise this money to get this final push and get this case wrapped up and done. And then everything else, because of the federal suit, it's a contingency fee. Everything else is on the attorney, so I don't have to worry about any more of this collection or crap like this. I'm done. I'm just ready for all this shit to be over with. So if you'd like to help, please consider helping. That's not the good news, though. The good news, guys, is we have an update in the case of Jason Colthart and Isabel Johnson. Okay, Jason Colthart, he's 43 years old. The lady, this little tiny 5'3", 120-pound lady, murdered him with zip ties around the neck. Okay, she has been on the run. I believe that this was substance abuse. I believe that he paid her. They dated kind of like that. She was a worker. I believe that the lady she was living with, which is, her name is Bobby. I believe that she and Isabel were lesbian lovers. That's what I truly believe. I believe Isabel kind of swung both ways. And I believe that she, because of the type of substances they were on, she was giving of herself to party with people. And, obviously guys are the ones that she would be giving of herself to for the party, for the money, for whatever. So I kind of believe that's the case. And I believe he had gotten paid or had some money, and she wanted his money. And I believe that that's what it's going to be over. Everybody's saying that she was abused and all this other stuff. I believe she's highly manipulative. I believe she's cunning, conniving, and everything else. And I don't believe that this guy was this massive abused guy, because why would you invite him over to your house and then put freaking zip ties around his neck? You're not talking about a stabbing. You're not talking about a beating. You're not talking about a baseball. You're talking about zip ties. That seems premeditated to me. Who murders by zip tie? Okay? Who murders by zip tie? Well, this chick did. And she buried this 6'3" guy in a shallow grave, okay? And all these other people, 5 people, have been arrested for aiding her in her escape. And we did a poll here on the Bullhorn Betty channel asking our audience whether or not they believe she was still in the state of Florida. They thought she was still in the state of Florida. And guess what, folks? You guys were right. She was still in the state of Florida. So let's find out what happened.
Johnson is over. We're here in Jackson County today. Ultimately, we received some information directly related to an address in Cottondale. We reached out to Sheriff Edenfield here in Jackson County, but also members of the U.S. Marshals Task Force. Collectively, they responded and found her, took her into custody. We have her. The search is over. Sheriff Edenfield?
So we appreciate the partnership we have with you guys and our marshals. So today you guys received information of the possible whereabouts, and I've got 3 deputies that's assigned to the Marshals Task Force. So those guys, along with the rest of the team, responded to an address just off of Peanut Road, just outside of Cottondale, and they were able to take the suspect into custody without incident. So it's a good day.
It's absolutely a good day. Can't express the amount of gratefulness for the amount of work that's been done, not just by the Walton County Sheriff's Office, now the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, The U.S. Marshals Task Force, FDLE, FWC, DEA, FBI has been involved. Just a lot of local partners, Okaloosa County, everybody, and again, outside of the state of Florida. We can't express the amount of work locally by our team. Our cyber unit put some stuff together right here. They got that information. Again, not going to go into the details of it because it still is active. Currently here interviewing Isabel Johnson so we can continue to get some information for this case. If you remember, she's been on the run since June 25th after we executed a search warrant in Freeport, Florida, and during that time frame identified Jason Colfart, who was reported missing out of Niceville. Recovered his remains, and then from then to now, it's been a constant investigation. You're talking over 40 subpoenas, 20 plus search warrants. Total arrest, 20 plus.
Total arrest, 20 plus? What the bleep? Did I just hear that right? 20 plus arrests? This is Instagram, so I can't go back. Dad, burn it. It doesn't give me the little bar down here to go back.
Directly related to Isabel Johnson and this case. We're right at about 5, but expecting some more, especially after what we've learned today. It's really important again.
So they've got 5 in custody, so they're expecting more. Okay, that makes sense. I like 20 arrests. What the bleep?
And just want to stress to the public, she's here, she's in custody, she'll be coming to Walton County hopefully tomorrow, get her in our jail. Again, just want to congratulate the work from our team. Tons of man hours for 45 days straight. I can't express the amount of appreciation for the work that's been done in this, and of course for Sheriff Enfield now finding her over here. Can't express the amount of appreciation, and again just the partnership that we have. Law enforcement across the board.
Crying.
She's in custody.
She a whiny baby. Look at that face. She been crying. She been crying. You done, girl. You done. Thank you for your service. We love our Florida officers. Yes, we do. And I'm sorry, but our Florida officers look good in the uniform. I'm sorry. Just about every single Florida deputy we got here, even the older ones that are a little more wide, they still look good. I don't know what it is about our sheriffs. Our sheriff's deputies and everybody here in the state of Florida, I don't know. The majority of them, we'll say that. The majority of them look good in their uniforms, okay? And I think that's unprofessional of me. I'm sorry. I got eyeballs. I mean, I can't help it. I mean, God didn't make them work. I mean, he gave me 2 ears, but only made 1. Ooh, see? You know what? That's why I'm the way I am. They say God gave you 2 ears and a mouth for a reason. You should use them proportionately, but God only gave me 1 ear and 1 mouth. Ah, there we go. I am using my ears and my mouth proportionately. Well, wouldn't you know? Look at that. Out of all this time, I just realized I had an argument to that. Nobody else gets that argument but me. I mean, if you want me to blow your eardrum out, I'll be happy to do it. I'm pretty sure if you want to have that argument, it'd make my day. Make my day. So we had some major breaking news today. What a great day. What a great day. We have a murderer off the roads. We know where she is. She's now going to jail. She's now going to have to deal with justice. This was premeditated, in my opinion. I mean, it's the zip ties. Like, I got zip ties here, but think about it. I mean, what zip tie do you got to add zip ties to zip ties. I mean, this is a person's neck. I mean, he's 6 foot tall. She's a foot. She had to jump up on a bed. And you know what I'm saying? Like, this is, nuh-uh. This is not like we got into a fight and I grabbed a knife and I, stabbed him. I mean, this is like, she's 5'3", he's 6'3", and he was strangled by zip tie. That's an up close and personal thing. That's somebody that, I bet you she was probably getting freaky with him. And that's how she was able to get close enough to put that freaking zip tie around his neck and just went, She's not even 120 pounds. No, she's not. Tiny little thing. She's a tiny little thing. Yep. And she was able to bury a grown man's body in a shallow grave. So, that's, and I'm using this case and I'm saying all of this because I want you guys to understand, because there's so many cases that people come here and like, there's no possibility of this happening. And it's like, Well, do you think a 5'3", 120-pound lady can murder a 6'3" man and bury him in a shallow grave by herself? Nope, that's impossible. Well, I got one for you. Her name's Isabel Johnson out of Freeport, Florida. Just saying. Alec Murdaugh, many people said it's impossible for him to murder 2 people in a matter of seconds. Yet he did it. Yet he did it. So when I hear things, I realize, doing this job, things happen in a split second. Split second, things happen. So, at any rate, guys, I want to thank everybody that came out this morning, that came out to learn about this case. If you guys don't know, Miss Nancy Guthrie has been missing since she was dropped off by her family on January 31st, 2026, just days after her 84th birthday, days after her daughter had just returned back to the set of the Today Show. She's ripped out of her bed by a masked gunman that visited her home multiple times, on video twice, preparing for February 1st to go in there and take her out. This is without a doubt a premeditated attack on this little old lady. The question is why? Is the family involved? Is a criminal involved? Is something else going on here that we're not looking at or paying attention to? And what is going on with all these smells and sheets and tarps and washes and then human remains? And now we're finding out these human remains have been there for a little bit of time, but appear to still have some tissue on them. And if they believe it's a homeless person, I would have to believe that it's more likely a homeless male. And like I said, no matter what type of remains you have, as long as you have the pelvis, you'll be able to tell whether this person is male or female. If you have the head, if you have the skull, you'd be able to determine whether or not the age of this person based upon the measurements between the little stitchy things up here. Because as you grow older, when you're younger, the stitching's very tight. As you grow older, that stitching gets very loose, and so by the way of how your skull is seamed together up there really determines a date. There's so many different ways that people don't understand about the body. And these are things that I've learned just from watching law enforcement, just by watching these trials, just by learning about all of these different things. When you have pathologists up there on the trials, I always listen very, very closely and very intensely about how they're able to determine these things, because that's how I was able to tell you. We know when there's asphyxiation or air being cut off. We have petechia. I never learned that from trials. I learned that from Joe Kenda. I learned that from Dr. G. I learned that from the forensic files. I learned that back in the 90s, that if you strangle somebody, you're going to have these little blood vessel pops. They look like almost mini little red freckles, tiny little red freckles all around your eyes. And that tells you that you were asphyxiated, that not necessarily asphyxiated, that the oxygen was cut off. Because there's multiple reasons why oxygen would be cut off. You've got, drowning. You would have petechia in your eyes, but you would also have water in your lungs, identifying that you drowned. Other ones would be you might have fibers in your lungs versus water, and that would tell somebody that you were probably suffocated versus strangled. Other people might have the impressions of handprints around your neck, identifying that you were strangled. There may be something else. You might have petechia because you choked on food and lost your life. You would have petechia on your eyes from choking on food, okay? Even if you didn't die as a result of it, but you almost did. You lost oxygen, you were struggling, you were stressing, because it's the bulging of the eyes that when your body naturally does that pops those blood vessels out. And that would, so you would even exhibit some petechia if you had anything like eating and choking, and you're out, you choke on food for like 30 seconds or 45 seconds or a minute, or you almost lose consciousness, or you do lose consciousness from choking. You will probably have some petechia around your eyes from that event. So I just want to identify these things because I think people forget about them. But the most important for me, whenever we're dealing with bones, is the pelvis and the brain and the skull, because the pelvis and some of the bones, some of the bones really do. But if you're dealing with small people, I don't really like going for the bones. I like going for certain things that identify true ages. The pelvis, they can even tell you whether you're a mom, whether you've bared children, even in a decomposed, state of bones. They can tell by your bones, by your pelvis, whether you're a male or a female, and if you've given birth to a child. They can tell that all from your bones. So I think that is super interesting, and for them to determine before they even have the DNA back and say that this is not Nancy Guthrie, and we're hearing that there's a lot of homeless population. This leads me to believe that the person's body that they found was more or less a male's body. That is what's leading. Yep, from blood vessels bursting. Yep, exactly. So that is what I truly believe, because a male is the only in my opinion, let me put this, the male would be the only reason they would be able to conclude definitively that this is not Nancy Guthrie. And they would have been able to tell the medical examiner before they even take the bones back to their office, they would be able to tell that this is a male or a female or an adolescent or a child or something like that. And even with the children, again, the pelvis tells you a lot, tells you the sex of those bones. So depending on the pelvis, that's going to tell you whether it's a male or a woman. Depending on the brain or the skull, it's going to tell you typically the age of the person. And your pelvis also defines whether or not the person has ever given birth to a child before. So lots of stuff. Bones speak volumes, and I want everybody to understand that bones do speak. And people are like, well, how can people determine if there's just bones there? How can people determine what the cause and manner of death is? Because bones speak. Okay, bones do talk to investigators and people that are in the medical professional that understand what your bones are, what they're supposed to look like, where they're supposed to be on the body. They determine a lot, but more importantly, those people that are in that field, those bones speak to those people. Again, petechia, if you have even sometimes tattoos get in areas that are harder to decompose. So even some decomposed bodies, they'll still be able to have the impression of the tattoo or what a tattoo might be. So we got to remember all of these things. This is more of a skeleton. So that means that very limited tissue was left on the body. So you might have an area that might have a little bit of hair left there, so they can determine a hair color. And if they're in the desert, then you're looking at smaller digits, like, every single one of your fingertips, there's cartilage and stuff holding these joints together, right? Well, when you decompose these little joints, these are probably the first that are picked off. Little birds and other things go and take your digits. So you've got different bones throughout your body, but typically those bigger bones do stay behind, even if a larger animal is getting to you. It sounds awful. It sounds very, very awful, but this is life. This is what happens, especially when a human being or any living creature dies in the desert. This is what happens. Most of the time, the big pieces will be left behind because they're too heavy. It's easier for the animal just to eat right there than it is to take them, try to rip this apart, So you have those situations. I don't know what we're dealing with here, or if these had anything to do with the tarp and the odor and the bad smell and the sheets that were observed by Mark the Shark the day earlier. It might all have something to do with one another. I'm just saying it might, because I just find it awfully interesting that one day we have smells, sheets, and tarps, and the next day we have human remains. Call me crazy, but even if they're in different areas, are they connected? Do they wash the same way? If they do, could they be part of the same thing? In my opinion, they could be, but we're not going to rush the gun here. As I said earlier, I don't believe it's Nancy. The tissue, hearing that there's tissue on these remains potentially, is giving me hope. but we do have somebody that has reported, a source close to the investigation says these are definitely not Nancy's. So for me to hear those things, then it's telling me that there must have been an identifying factor that would exclude Nancy. And what is one of those identifying factors that could exclude Nancy? A male, right? If we have a male pelvis, it's going to be hard to say it's Miss Nancy Guthrie because she's a female and gave birth to 3 children. So those are the things that we would be looking for. Anyways, guys, I do want to thank you. I want to thank you a whole heck of a lot for you guys coming here and hanging out with me. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the gift. I appreciate it. Who did that come from? One painter? Is that what it says? One painter? We do appreciate you. We do appreciate you. At the end of the day, guys, you guys have an amazing day. We've got a lot to cover. I'm going to try to start working on some videos and getting some videos pumped out from earlier shows that we did earlier this week. There was still some good information about Luke and Carlos that I'd like to break out into other shows. So if you guys didn't get a chance to watch, we've done a lot of hours this week. So I know some of you guys can watch it, some of you guys can't. Some of you guys come back here on the replay crew or whatever the case may be. So we'll just keep trying to get all the information out, and we'll still have more discussions. Now, my mods are trying to get me to do a panel, which I'm still trying to figure out how we can do with our bandwidth because I'm not on StreamYard anymore. I do have the abilities to open the phones, but I'm trying to see if maybe like a Google Meets might work for us for our channel to have like maybe a panel. But I would like to get some panels. If you are a content creator and you have been covering the case of Miss Nancy Guthrie and you would like to do a panel with me on my show, I mean, I know that there's a way we can live together. I'm happy to do that as well. It'd be the first time I set it up, so please show me some grace. But I would even be okay with some design like that. I know 503 we were talking about. I know Pretty Little Clues. I see we have a few people here that would definitely benefit maybe from a panel show. So if you guys would like to do a panel and you guys would like to try, I definitely need to try to set up something that might work for this channel. We can only do the panel for about an hour, according to what I understand for Google Meets. If it's more than 2 people, then we can only use it for an hour, and then we have to reset up a new stream, which I can do. We can have a couple streams set up and get them just go from one to the other, and just we can do something like that. It's a little more involved, but if it works, it works. I'm not going to have a qualm with it. So if you guys would like to do something like that, send me an email, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. If you're a content creator and you would like to do a roundtable discussion with me on the case of Miss Nancy Guthrie, I would absolutely love that as well. And if we can get this one going, then we're going to set up another panel for another show. Not Nancy Guthrie, maybe Lynette Hooker, maybe Sebastian Rogers, Summer Wells or something, and start getting panels and getting those cases back up and running so we can start, applying a little bit of pressure to get those cases moving in the right direction. They feel like they're cold a little bit. Seems like Summer Wells kind of heated up a little bit and then it's fizzled out again. So we're trying to figure out what in the world is going on here. So if we can get the panels working, then that would be great. If we can't, we can't. So again, if you guys would like to do panels, send me an email. Let me know that you guys are interested in it. It's bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. If you are interested in being a content creator for the roundtable discussion, and this is open to everybody. I know that we've had some problems with some content creators. There's a few content creators, no matter what, I will not lend an olive branch to. But if there are some content creators that are over, whatever hindrance or problem they've had with me, and they're interested in this case and they would like to have a discussion on it, reach out to me and we'll work something out so we can bring you up on the panel and stuff like that and kind of mend fences and whatnot. So this is opening it up to some of those the people that we've kind of exiled off this channel for a while. If you guys are over your bullshit, which it sounds like a lot of blinders are coming off over the, I'm watching everything that's kind of breaking out on social media, not because I want to, it's just because everybody's, sending me stuff about what's going on out there, and everything that I was saying happened is obviously I'm being showed to be correct, like I didn't lie, which I was being told I was a liar this whole time, and I have not been lying. I've been telling the truth, and I tried to, even those haters that did all this to me, I even tried to protect them. But the case is over. Queen Bee is allowed. There's not one attorney or judge that's going to say she cannot give the people that donated to her. But what she did is she took. It sounds like she took money that didn't go toward it. And we knew that this was going to happen because she raised an awful lot of money. I just want to remind everybody, I'm currently in litigation, and I've had 7 different lawsuits, and I still haven't spent that type of money, $100,000 on our court stuff. So there's no possibility that just me with one court hearing she spent that much money on. And I gave her credit, you know, I went over and above, saying maybe $35,000. I don't even think it was that much. I really don't even think it was that much. So if she raised $100,000, that's how much money she took in for herself, and she never gave it back. She never donated it to a nonprofit. She took it from them. She told them that it was for you know, this lawsuit, and she kept going back and asking for more money, telling them she needed it for the lawsuit, and she didn't. She didn't even spend the money that she had already collected on the lawsuit. And I kept saying that, and she kept going back for more, and people kept giving her more and more and more. It was like ridiculous, you know. And we struggled just to raise $5,000 to pay my attorney, and they dropped like $100,000 on her in a month or 2 months. Like it was absolutely insane. And I did everything I could to try to protect the people, because I knew they were so manipulated. They didn't know what they were doing, you know. And I truly believe that. But now this comes full circle, and she's caught with her pants down, and she doesn't want to give them the receipts, and she's trying to blame it on me. Our case is done. There's nothing I can do with those receipts. And the judge didn't say she couldn't give me the receipts. I wasn't trying to get the receipts. I was trying to have her turn the money over into the registry of the court. That's what I was trying to get done. That's what was denied. It was never denied that I couldn't have access to the receipts. That wasn't what I was asking for. I was asking for her to be required to put all that money in the registry of the court, so everybody knew how much money she collected and how much money was spent for her own people. It had nothing to do with me. What I was going to do with that money is, if I did win the lawsuit, I was going to take it. That's why I wanted it in the registry of the court. And that's why they fought me not to have it into the registry of the court. That's what was denied. And I want to make sure we don't get it twisted, because I got the receipts on that, and anybody can go and look up her court record and look at what I actually filed. It was to turn the money over to the registry of the court. That is what was denied. It was never denied that I wasn't entitled to the receipt, because they were going to end up, I was going to be entitled to the receipt no matter what, because if they went after me, which she was trying to go after me for attorney fees, they would have been required to turn all of that over to me. So I just want to make sure that you guys are not being further manipulated and lied to, because you guys all know that she was trying. If she told her people, I'm going to get attorney fees from Miss Betty. I'm going to get attorney fees. How do you think she was going to get attorney fees? She was going to be required to turn that over. There is no privilege to those bills. Okay? What I was denied for was having her turn that money into the registry of the court. So she's lying to you guys. And if you feel like she's lying to you guys, I would definitely, allegedly and in my opinion, I would definitely file a criminal action with her state attorney if you feel that you were fraudulently, if she fraudulently told you this was for one thing and used it for another thing. I've heard rumors that she bought her and her daughter cars. If that's true, then yes, she did fraudulently collect money. She took that money for court and she spent it on personal items. So that is considered fraud under the criminal code. So if that is truly what happened, my suggestion to everybody would be file suit. Or not, you don't even have to file suit, just file a criminal complaint. And because this was done over the internet, she was inducing this money over the internet, you're talking about white collar crime now. Now you're talking about the feds. So I would definitely do one of those I3C3.FBI.gov federal things, because I think this rises to a federal crime. If that is what she did. Again, I got to keep putting the caveat, if that's what she did, because I didn't donate to her, so I have no claim. And I only heard rumors. You know, we do have some shots of all of her little, you know, PayPal things that I was using for my court hearings, so I do have those if you need those. I do have copies of those in my file. I'll give those to whoever needs them for, you know, for whatever. I don't have any reason to hide. I got no privilege. The case is over. There's nothing privileged that I've got. There's nothing privileged she has. So again, she's more than welcome to send that. And she would have been, I want to make sure this is very clear, she would have been required to send me that stuff over at the end of the case. I just want to make sure that you guys are all aware. This illusion that I'm prevented from having it. No, they were coming after me for attorney fees if they were going to win the case. These would have absolutely been turned over to me, 100%. There is no privilege to that amount. And because they were coming after me for attorney's fees, again, she would have been required without a doubt to turn these receipts over to me. So whatever she's telling to her audience is a flat lie. And if you don't believe me, again, I'm not saying for you to believe me. Obviously, she's manipulated you guys, telling you guys that I'm the liar when she's been the liar. But I digress. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to her. Pick up the phone. It seems like you guys do investigative work on everybody else. You have no problem who you dox and who you follow and who you break the law for. So why don't you pick up the fucking phone and call an attorney and find out who's telling the truth, whether it's me or her. I guarantee it's going to be me. I guarantee it's going to be me. So do what you wish with that. I'm sorry that it happened to you. You guys allowed this woman to manipulate you, to inflame you, to sit there, and everything that I put in that court record was accurate. She used all these words, these things to make me a horrible person in your eyes, and then she extorted all this money from you. And you guys allowed her to do it. And I tried telling you guys back when all this stuff was going on, her audience, I tried to tell you guys were being foolish. You guys were being so foolish, and you guys were being manipulated, and you guys were just hook, line, and sinker. I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy. All this stuff, even though you knew she was doing all this stuff to me, including following me, having people follow me, that is a crime. That is a crime. That is a crime. That is a crime. That is stalking. And you guys supported her stalking me. And then when I'm doing my job, you try to say I'm stalking other people when I'm a frickin' independent journalist. How dare you? So I'm enjoying every bit of this. I will not lie. I'm enjoying every bit of it. I'm enjoying exactly what Burnt Toast and Queen Bee did to me, them doing it to each other right in front of everybody. Every single thing that I listed in my court hearing that I was called a liar about, you're seeing happening right in front of everybody. Everybody. Everything that was in there that I was called a liar about. Well, proof's in the pudding. Proof, meat pudding. We got a lot of that going on. So I hope that the hate people that were on her channel supporting this nonsense against me for no reason other than to bully me. I did nothing to her. Go back and look. What the hell did I ever do to her? I never even knew who she was before she started going and attacking me and trying to destroy my channel and take my channel. Like, she just said, ooh, she's making a lot of noise. She's getting a lot of clicks and views. Let me go destroy her channel. That's exactly what happened. You can't do that. That's a crime. It's not only a crime, it's a civil tort as well. And I tried to educate these people, and the more you tried to educate them, the worse they got. Well, now you guys are all meeting karma. So now, if you guys want to know, is karma real? Is karma real? I'll let you guys be the judge of that. But from where I'm sitting, there is this thing called karma, and it is absolutely real. So I would like to be on the good side of karma. So I wake up every day and I do good. I do good work. I don't try to destroy people. But make no mistake, I'm half holy, half hood. That means you can pray with me, but please don't play with me. I make a much better friend than I do an enemy. I'm a best friend. I'm a loyal friend. I'm a loyal to a fault friend. But you know what? When you cross that line and you're no longer my friend, just remember how loyal a friendship is. And when that loyalty goes away, think about all the things that loyalty got you while that loyalty was there. So when that loyalty goes away, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to come full circle. It's going to come full circle. I always make a better friend than I do an enemy. And I love people. I really do. I truly love people. So if you guys have made a mistake in the past and you guys are ready to, we accept people on this channel that are kind, that are courteous. We don't expect you guys to parrot everything. We just expect you to be respectful to one another. That's what we expect on this channel. Sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't. But whatever happened to the people on Queen Bee, you guys were manipulated. I mean, think of the strategy she used for you. I want you guys, this is so psychological, and I was seeing it very early, and I told you guys about it, but you guys were already so sunk into the hate channels and their craziness that it was insane. And at the end of the day, you guys are seeing it. Everything I said is now, there's no blinders anymore. Everybody's seeing what I said is true, because they just released how Queen Bee is paying Blank Screen to go harass somebody else, paying him, making it worth his while. Does that mean she was sending him drugs? Making it worth his while. Did she do that to me? How many drugs did she send over? How many pills did she send over to Blank Screen to have him do what he did to me? How much money did she pay Blank Screen? Now, I can't go back after Queen Bee for any of that. If she does anything from our court hearing forward, I do have a claim, and I'm going after Blank Screen, and I'm going to get all of that discovery, and they can go ahead and delete it and start hiding it and everything else. That's okay. I'll get it I'll get it straight from their people. Subpoenas are a great thing. Subpoenas are a great thing. So we may find out that Queen Bee did do some dirty shit since that court hearing has been over. And if we do, well, we'll have her back in court again. That's how this works. So we're going to be filing against Blank Screen, I think Monday or Tuesday of this week. I may push it off until after we get paid, because, obviously I'm sending out quite a bit of money today. So we'll get that figured out. But I've already have the complaint. I just got to go and adjust some things on it. I've already had everything drafted months ago, and I've kind of just, things were quiet and I don't want to do it, but I've been forced to. I've got no other choice at this point. And now that we're finding out that Queen Bee is lying, it makes me wonder what else she's lied about and how many times she's used Blank Screen to have him come and attack me, and how much money she's paid him to come and attack me, or gave him, things like substances or pills through the mail or something like that. I mean, I would definitely like to explore all of those avenues, because if I find out there's any drug dealing going on, especially through the use of mail, I can promise you I'm going to make sure, because Queen Bee knows if I get an opportunity to throw that bitch in jail, I'm throwing her in jail. Any point, I don't care if it's now or 10 years from now. Any opportunity that I have to throw that lady in jail, I'm going to throw her in jail. If there comes a time where the law allows for it, this might be it right here. This might be the karma that's needed to put her in jail. I don't know. But she knows I am not playing, and she wants to keep poking the bear. Like, I leave it alone. But now here my name is back in this bitch's mouth. So, you know what? Now I'm not even coming for the civil suit. I want you in jail. You're a criminal, in my opinion. And I think the people need to fight her. I think they need to file the complaints with the courts. I think they need to file the complaints with the feds. People go to jail for this type of stuff. She collected $100,000 and probably only spent about $25,000 or $35,000 collecting. The majority of her legal expenses went to her personally, not her legal expenses at all. So she's got some, I mean, that is, and we do have proof that she was specifically advertising for legal expenses. So when you take legal expenses, we can prove that she purchased, and I'm pretty sure you can prove, I don't know definitively, but if you can prove that those cars were purchased before the end of the lawsuit, I think you might have her dead to rights. For fraud. But again, I'm not getting into that element of it. If you guys want to do it, I gave you guys all the information you need to hold her accountable if she did do those bad things. Again, I don't know if she did. I didn't spend the money. I don't know what she promised you. I was staying off of her site. I don't watch her. The only time now I'm even going to go there. I didn't watch her. I went through her videos and took the ones that had my name in it and put them through my system, and we turned those over to a program. And so those were what broke everything down for me for my case. Anyways, that's kind of where we are with this. Do I have anything? Oh, I do have something else. I do have one other thing to talk to you about before we go. Okay. So many of you guys know, if you don't, we have like 846. So I don't know if all of you guys know this, but I haven't dated in like 3 years or 3 or 4 years now. I can't remember how long it's been. It's been a while. It's been a while because I had like this broken heart and da-da-da-da. So the rule was if I could keep an animal alive for 6 months and keep a plant alive for 6 months, I can start dating. Okay. So as you guys know, I've had Delilah for about 2.5 years. She's almost 3 years old, coming next April. So I think we just got out of April. So about 2.5 years I've had her. And I had a plant that Betty fans sent me. And I killed the plant. I forgot that I had to leave town. I think it was for Sebastian Rogers. I think we were doing an event. Maybe it was I can't remember. And I went to Tennessee or wherever I was going. It might have been North Carolina I can't remember. Anyways, it was like in 2023 or 2024. Betty sends me this flower pot, this little cute little flower pot with seeds and everything, and I killed the plant. So I never kept the plant alive for 6 months and never grew anything. So it has been ultra important, that I found this plant. This plant has been this cantaloupe that I thought was a cucumber that came out of my drain pipe. It's a long, disgusting story. I'm not going to go into it with 800 people in the chat. If you really want to know, ask somebody. It is a well-known story. And so this little sucker, this little seedling wanted to live. So I've got this little cup that Betty gave me, that one that I killed the plant in, and I had a little bit of soil left from her. And so I put this seedling in there and I put it outside. I'm like, forget it, just forget it. And so I put it under this one little thing, so it was partly shaded and I went out there and it was like overgrown. It was like this vine. I'm like, what the hell do I have here? And so I took a picture of it, put it through ChatGPT, and it's like, oh, it could be a cucumber or a cantaloupe. And I'm like, it has to be a cucumber. Like, I ate a lot of cucumber this week. I mean, it had to have been the cucumber, but I did have cantaloupe that week too. And so long story short, the plant started growing like a weed, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got cucumbers, this weed, I've got to get a trellis. So I spend like $40 on this trellis. I get the trellis all set up, and I get this vine on this trellis. And this trellis, we went through like almost a hurricane force wind, knocked the trellis all over, almost killed my plant, killed half the plant. But a cantaloupe started growing. And I thought it was a cucumber. So we came in here, we got a cucumber, yay! And then by day 2, it's like, it's not elongating. By day 3, and now we got a softball. And it's like, okay, this is circular. And so I took another picture, put it back in ChatGPT. It says, oh, it's a cantaloupe. I'm like, oh, okay, we got cantaloupe on a trellis. This is not going to be good. So then I had to get, now I have a big ball hanging off a trellis. The vine's going to break eventually from the weight. So now I've got to put another little thing up under it to save my cantaloupe. It's hanging out of a trellis. It's a cantaloupe. It's going to be heavy. So I'm like, shoot. So we get, Horsey Love sends me melon stands and grates to put it all in there and all this other stuff. So now we have a cantaloupe. It's finally getting that rough coat on the outside of the cantaloupe. It doesn't start like that. When it's green, it's hairy. It's got a lot of hair on it. These cantaloupes start very hairy, okay? They're hairy balls. Literally. Hairy balls. Hairy suckers. And then they lose the hair, and then they start getting like this like viney looking thing all over it. It almost looks like it's infected, but it's not. That's that hard coat starting to develop. And so now the hard coat's starting to, like, every day it's getting a little bit darker and a little bit darker and a little thicker and a little thicker, and you're starting to see more of the details of the cantaloupe, that exterior part of the cantaloupe. So I know it's getting there. Well, this morning I walk out there, the whole thing's flipped over. I see the cantaloupe looks like it's in the middle of the yard. I'm like, oh my God. What just happened? I lost the cantaloupe. Okay, you guys don't understand how important it is for this freaking plant to live. Okay, did I tell you about the whole plant and animal thing at the beginning? Okay, it's very, very, very important for this freaking plant to live. And I go out there and it is just torn in the yard. I'm like, ah! Right at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I'm like, who the hell did this? You know, I can't even find the stand or the little bag that the cantaloupe was on. It's gone. It's gone. And I'm like, did somebody come here and trample on my crap? You know, I'm thinking, what frickin' hate channel did this time? Ooh, I'm going, get your ass! I'm coming for you! And I'm like, this doesn't smell like a hater. This smells like something else. So my little sniffer started working, and I'm like, you know what? We have a culprit. We have a culprit! We have a culprit! Somebody thought my cantaloupe was a toy! Did you guys see that? Let's start it over again. Somebody thought my cantaloupe was a ball to play with! Who dat? Or there's that black dog that Delilah doesn't like. Yep. We got the culprit. Yep. We have a criminal loose on my street. A criminal. A cute-faced, hairy-nosed criminal that destroyed my trellis, destroyed this vine that's already been through a freaking hurricane, a tornado, and the melon is still hanging on for dear life, surviving. And now it got attacked by a pooch. And I'm like, no! I want to tell you, the cantaloupe has survived. While I didn't find the bag that the first one came in, and while I couldn't find the stand, it was dark as shit out there, the cantaloupe, the dog managed to spin the whole entire trellis around in one circle. So now the cantaloupe is on the other side of the trellis. How this dog did this, I didn't know. I just know that the cantaloupe is still on the vine, so I fixed it up and set it back up as quickly as possible so it didn't get destroyed. The cantaloupe is not dead. The cantaloupe, I told you, this vine, this fruit wanted to live, okay? And I think it's like a gift from God saying, Betty, you need to get out of the house. It's time for you to start dating again. I think that's really the push that God's giving me, because first of all, cantaloupe is not a summer fruit. Okay, it's not supposed to the summer is the worst type of weather to grow this type of fruit in. Yet we have a seedling that came out of my kitchen sink and has grown, and it has produced a fruit, went through a tornado, went through a hurricane, and went through a dog tossing it all over the freaking yard, and it's still living, okay? I don't know any piece of fruit that wants to get in my belly worse than that. Okay? The cantaloupe said, I am yours. And you can't get rid of me that easy. I'm getting in your belly, lady. Get in my belly, talented dog. I know. It's once this cantaloupe finally reaches its ripe, it's going to be such a bittersweet moment to cut into it. It's like, this sucker survived everything. Survived the heat, survived the drought, survived the hurricane, survived the tornado, survived the dog, hell, survived Betty's brown thumb. Oh, good gracious, this sucker wanted to live. But I also want to put the testament of there is no way that I allowed this cantaloupe to live. This is truly a gift from God. Put some wires or chairs. I'm going to have to do something. Damn dog. We found the culprit. I went out there. I went through. I'm like, who did this? It's right in front of the camera, too. I know I got this. And then I see, now we see the culprit. I thought it was the culprit. When I first looked at it, I'm like, how did this get like this? I'm like, I didn't remember hearing of a storm. Like, I would have expected it if we had another torrential downpour like we did, the first time. But this thing was twisted. Like, I had to get it up and turn it. Like, the cantaloupe was right here by the window. It's now out in the freaking yard. It's on the other side. Like, I don't know how, like, this dog must have just thought, oh, this looks like a slide. Let me try to slide on it. I mean, I don't, like, he had to have taken it and pulled it, and Again, I don't even have the stand or the bag that the cantaloupe was originally in. The cantaloupe was laying on the ground all by itself. It looked like he thought it was a Frisbee or something and decided to go. He kept the fruit on there. I don't know how this fruit stayed. I saw it in the middle of the yard and I'm like, oh my God, they ripped the fruit off the frickin' vine. I go over there and pick it up and the frickin' fruit's still on the vine. I'm like, this cantaloupe just won't die. I need to eat. I wonder if that's like, youth preserving cantaloupe here. I think I'm going to have to eat this cantaloupe. I think I'm going to take it and just like rub it all over my face at this point. Get it all over the body. Cantaloupe. The cantaloupe that never dies. Let's rub elbows with this thing. Let's rub elbows with this thing. All right, guys, we're out of here. You guys have a great day. We'll see you guys in the near future. It was fun. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for learning some information with me. I'm glad we have some positive information with Isabel finally arrested. She gets to be held accountable. We've got more people that are going to be arrested on that front that were helping her out, knowing what she did to this poor man. And of course, we're going to be still looking to find out who these remains actually belong to, if they are not Miss Nancy Guthrie's. And I truly was hoping that we could put this case to bed. That's the worst part about this, is it's so sad. Like it's such a bittersweet feeling just to want the answer so bad that you'd almost prefer hearing about remains associated with the person than just more silence, And I think we're kind of there in this case. I think we're just ready for this case to start moving. We're ready to finally have the finality of her, being deceased and her being able to have the dignity of being put to rest and celebrated, like her daughter has said. I'm just, my heart breaks because I just want answers for this family. And this has been the closest that I think we've came to potentially having answers for her. And then it sounds like it's not. So we'll just keep moving on and just keep praying for these remains, because they belong to some family, and some family is about to get some really devastating news. So we just want to uplift these strangers that we don't know and just wrap our arms around them with some love, because they're about to get some news. And again, if this is just a washed up, homeless person on drugs, you got to remember, homeless people on drugs still have mommies and daddies. They still have children. They still have ex-wives and best friends and aunts and uncles and cousins and siblings that love them and can't stand watching them go through this. And there's nothing they can do except let them go to do this. And the next call that they get, their loved one is gone and gone forever. There's no redos. Somebody's about to get that call. And it's absolutely horrid and horrible. So we just want to put our hands on whoever these unknown people are to us, and just uplift them in love and strength, and strength. So you guys have a great day. We will see you guys in the near future. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. But if you've made it on the replay crew, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, but more importantly, that thumbs up button. That thumbs up button really helps us get noticed out here on these streets. So we appreciate your subscription. We appreciate your membership. And more importantly, we appreciate those thumbs up. So thank you guys. We'll see you soon.